Yeah, I had such an amazing time.
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing and Conscious Business Zone today with Pascal Radic. Hi, Pascal.
Hey.
I know it's kind of weird that I do this, but I like it. So, Pascal, I haven't seen you for a couple years, but I've been getting to watch your journeys, like where is Pascal, like where is Waldo, kind of all over the world. So I hope we get to talk about that. And you're an incredible photographer, among
Thank
other things. But today I wanted to introduce you to everyone here because of the amazing consciousness work you do with light. So, Pascal, tell us about how you got involved in light as a consciousness tool.
Well, it started a couple of years ago, probably in, when was it, 2012. We've got some friends in common that were visiting me all the way from Australia at the time, and they said, "Hey, we've got this meeting with these two scientists in Austria, and apparently they created an amazing light device that can connect you with parts of your inner being, and it's amazing for meditation and other benefits. Do you want to join us?" And I said, sure. So off we go to the Tyrol Mountains area in Austria over a long weekend, and I got that amazing opportunity to meet with these two um, great great men. They're doctors, but physicians, but in the same time, they've developed a lamp that has opens up things, that you would not expect. And also, when exchanging with these two gentlemen, um, I had the pleasure to discover that they both been on a journey, personal journey, all their life, in the pursuit of a higher understanding of the meaning of life and different things. And light itself has always been a very intriguing um, point of reference for both of them. And one of them even had NDE when he was a child, I believe. And that was a turning point in his life, because when you're immersed into that super light dimension that goes through all your pores and your cells, and it's filled with love and other things, um, it's totally transcendental, and for sure it will leave you with a mark for the rest of your life. So that
Yep.
was definitely a turning point that made him follow one particular direction
Yeah.
in understanding better light phenomenon with consciousness and different things. So that led to create that light over the years, and see how that lamp could induce, I wouldn't say similar experience like an NDE. That would be maybe to be claimed, but at least certain experiences that connects you with deeper part of yourself.
Well, excuse
So
me 1 second. People on WhatsApp from our group are trying to connect here.
sure,
So excuse
sure.
me. But I don't know if you know, I just came back from teaching at the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm involved with that too.
Okay, good.
With that in common. I just was in Philadelphia teaching.
Mm, right. Okay.
So yeah, it's amazing. So here we go. Let's see. Uh, um, so but that was the Lucia light, right? The one
That
that you're
was
talking about.
exactly that was the first light
But
I
I
was.
know you because of this.
Oh, right. That's the other one. That's the Pandora star.
Right, right.
So
So
there are
you're
basically two
getting there.
large,
Getting there
two
while I
lights.
do this.
Right, right. There are basically two main lights. There are others, but these are the most known right now out there. It's the Lucia and the Pandora star, and they both deliver the same kind of experience. It's a journey toward altered states of consciousness. It's very meditative, and you can do things. Beyond that, I'm not going to make any claim here,
Right.
but it opens up literally the Pandora box, and um, the possibilities to explore the mind and the um, areas of who you are as an individual in a body, in a vehicle like this, is very profound. And I've been lucky to use these devices for years now, and I have accompanied thousands of people. I think, way over 6,000 by now. But I've been lucky to be witness of extraordinary experiences of certain people under that device, these devices, and it's a bliss. Um, I don't want to oversell anything here, but I'm just saying, you know, um,
Well, I can oversell it. You don't have to. Okay, so we have the Lucia light is $25,000. So I don't have one of those, but
yeah,
the Pandora star is closer to $5,000.
yeah,
And you usually have the lights and then a headset with music to listen to. You close your eyes as the light is projected on on your face. Some people use it on the top of their crown. And I've seen people with brain damage be able to function again. I've seen people that were in wheelchairs walk again. I've seen you, which was amazing, Pascal. That was so beautiful what you did. Oh my God. Now, that wasn't after one session. I know that people that do a lot of left brain work,
mm,
do a lot of IT coding, database work where it's just heavy science, heavy on the left side of your brain.
yeah,
They use it to create a portal to their creativity. It's
mm,
almost like an Einstein pill.
mm,
That's the way I use it. Is an access. I did not have a near death experience, but I had a white light experience. So I know what light, that we are light, and
yeah,
that a little portion of who we are is in this vehicle. And so this somehow brings me back. It calms my emotions. If my emotional body is blocking my productivity, it seems to create a baseline for it.
mm,
Um, but don't you find? I mean, the my friend Darlis Mays went on a trip with you. Also, she went to Hawaii, I think, with you. I got to
yeah,
go with you to
good,
Shasta
right,
and do a sacred light journey with Richard Yap and CN. And and those experiences in group were almost like tapping back into consciousness.
yeah, because when you merge several individual consciousness into one through a space of light that is created via a certain way of doing things, ritual, you can literally, yeah, merge these consciousnesses and get a much exponential power of use of that force. Consciousness is just not something. It's an energy. It's light. It's a power literally to move things. So
Right. Well, it wants to be expressed, and we're part of the construct of its expression. And if we dumb ourselves down because we are in a box that doesn't even exist, this allows you to get out of the box, really, right?
absolutely.
So
Um,
I want you to know Elsie Ritzenheim's here and says hello. She's a CCC person. And Zach Bergen, and Zach Bergen, who you would love. Next time you come, you'll have to meet him.
sure.
Zach, Pascal has done the Winhoff. Is that the way to pronounce it? With
The
the Winhoff.
Oh yeah, Wim Hof. Yeah,
Wim,
I
yeah,
didn't. I didn't attend his whatever workshop, but a very good friend of mine has, and it's also very powerful. This guy is an inspiration, and I mean his ability to transcend some human limitation set the example that we can do much more than our day-to-day functioning as we think we can or we believe we can. So he's a great guy, and
Well, Zach does that. Zach is an incredible athlete and musician and a physicist, or
mm,
physicist, yeah. And and he's a little in the FBI too. I mean, he's really a unique, incredible, expanded man. And so
mm,
I think you guys would really like each other because that's how I see you. I see you as a person that is expanding the frontier of what the human can do, where your possibilities, you're showing the world the construct of what it is to live in love, but to do stuff. It's not ascending and getting out of your body, sitting on a mountaintop, oming. This is doing stuff in that expanded place.
yeah, I mean our our the physical part of who we are is so tiny. Is so tiny. I mean, I don't want to undermine, what we do in this dimension, our role, our destinies. That's not the what I'm trying to say. It's just that with respect to the rest of our being, that is so huge, so multidimensional, working on different levels and dimension at once. This is just to show how it's funny how much importance we give for this physical body here and what we can do or achieve in life. And I mean, most of the great masters and teachers have always said somehow that the truth is not visible, it's in the visible world. So for sure, we can do and accomplish so much more than what we think we can. So for sure, it starts here. And back to that light, that those lamps, what I found fascinating is that it allows us to go beyond our own mind constructs. um, and it's like a roller coaster. When you experience the lamp, people get through phases of like very high in terms of it's very visual, lots of colors, intense colors, shapes, geometries, sometimes images of scenes or whatever. And at some other point, you feel like slipping from that top into another something else of at that bottom of that wave. And this is where you hit that zone that we call hypnagogia, which is that very zone between the sleep state and the awakened state, where the Pandora box opens. And people sometimes can have visions, can if they're a bit psychic, sometimes they can hear things, some guidance, intuition, um, and most likely during that particular short time here, even if it lasts just a couple of seconds, like, I don't know, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, or even less. But since this is a roller coaster, you're going to hit that place at the bottom several times and reconnect with that phase. But in that moment, you're beyond the thought. You're beyond the identification with the body, with all the labels that you've applied to yourself over the years since you were born. uh, and it's truly an invitation to connect with something else that is much bigger than yourself, much bigger than your name or who you think you are as an individual. You go from an individual to something more bigger, like universal, and that's what's so profound in this experience.
Well, what I've seen, and it was interesting. Darla said something to me. She said, "I really want the light." She said, "I've watched these people from a year. I guess she went to two different functions and could see the amazing personal growth that people had from the first year to the second year using these tools,
Totally.
where she could see that they were walking in peace and love. They were walking the world differently. Um,
Yeah, I
right?
witnessed that many times, and it's extraordinary. I mean, I'm not saying that with each individual that goes under the light, they will be transformed and transcended, but
No.
still, there's a lot of people, nonetheless, that do experience a kind of shift in their mind, sometimes in their behavior. I've seen people, getting rid of bad habits, addictions, uh, sometimes even overnight. And
Wow. Really?
I've got several times people that that I reconnected months later, and so I inquired about how they were doing, and since last time, and so oh, I'm doing great. I remember having that experience with you on the light. That was so good. And then they come to, oh, and by the way, the next day I quit smoking. I'm like, what? like what? You know, like anecdotically, they're like, yeah, or some of the things, or I went into a new diet, or I started losing weight, which I've struggled for years. And it's very funny because they never come most of the time for that particular reason,
Right.
and this is a good thing, in fact, because you don't put too much expectations, and that's
Right.
also a key
Right.
uh, into having a successful session. But just being able to come with an open heart and an open mind without expectation, and just allowing yourself to experience whatever come to you,
Right.
uh, and be open to it. I mean, I think is the best approach. But yeah, I've seen, to second to what you say, a lot of time, many people changing, opening, being more connected within, more intuitive. And this is the greatest gift I can humbly get back when I hear those stories, because I don't I don't try to induce change in people. I
Right.
just accompany them on the light. Of course, we have discussions, we exchange on different things, which most likely contribute also to expanding the mind, and the work of the light. But I really take much credit for this, because this is how I function. But and that's also why somehow make me less attached to results or outcomes, with the
Right.
light.
Right.
Some people might not be very, passionate to allow certain experiences or healing to take place. I am totally detached from it, um, because I know that it often happens in ways sometimes that we don't expect. So it's also my way of not trying to get into the way of the light.
Right. Well, you know that they're connected to you because their soul wants to shift. And so whatever outcome is for their highest good, that's the intention, is that
Yeah,
whatever outcome they have is for their highest good. I know that not everybody will see a result in even the first session. Sometimes it seems more like entertainment, the first sessions, and there are programs on the light. There's 150 programs or more of different patterns that can go. So you can do anything from a 10-minute, just shift your mind a little bit, to a deep dive, or
yeah.
program to help you sleep. There's so many different options. And have you found that any of them you particularly like the best, or that you've had? I like Condor.
Yeah, I like it too. That's not the only one, but that's a very subjective question. It's difficult to answer because we're just all different, and um, our very neuronal network in the brain is again very unique to each individual. From the moment you were born to how you were raised, educated, to whatever experiences, positively or negatively traumatic, that you might have had, to how you view or perceive life and reality, your belief system, etc., will make this construct here your own. You know, you'd have a twin sister genetically, and she would be different. She would have a different perception in the experience. As you just mentioned, that lamp, the Pandora star, has actually over 200 programs right now, and each of them induce different things. They have different sequences of different wavelengths that will tackle different areas of the brain, and obviously, you know, bring in different states. Sometimes it's going to be extremely relaxing, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes very stimulating. So yes, we have programs that have certain, I would say, direction. I mean, the saying that program has that goal, I think it's too,
Narrow.
yeah, it's too narrow, because we're all different. But let's say they all have, each program has a specific intent. And some programs are there for like stimulating memory, or helping with sleep, or stimulating the third eye, or stimulating, there are so many different things, addictions. So the names of the programs are very self-explanatory, but also it's important to keep in mind that this is an amazing tool, but it's a tool for inducing altered state of consciousness. That's it. Okay, it's not a medical tool or a therapeutical tool, and it's very important to remind this, because some people might be misguided or misled into thinking that they could cure things. Yes, we've witnessed things so far, and it's extraordinary when we see an actual healing taking place. But again, this is not the primary goal of that device. So just wanted to put that
Yeah,
into
I
perspective.
don't. I know that we have to be careful about anything we say, but I have seen huge changes and shifts in people, and if their emotional body was causing the issue in their body, then a lot of times this has shifted that response so that it wasn't, they weren't constantly triggered, which
Right.
allowed the body to do its job. So I know that we have to be very careful anything we say, but you guys, this thing is amazing. But anyway, so Pascal, I want you to know Zach wrote, I create virtual reality experiences that are literally putting you in different worlds with little or no limitation, combining sound, movement, and light. Moving through a light field and being able to morph through forms, I find, is consciousness expanding. And he keeps going. This is because you're able to experience higher dimensions via a virtual light body. So you'll have
Yeah,
to read the rest of it when he's done. But you know, and he's at the very end. He said, "There's no bypassing the work." Kind of
absolutely. I
really
totally agree with this. I
right.
totally agree with this. Now, and it's a good point, and I think we need to recognize the fact that no external tool whatsoever will ever do the work. I mean, we're here, incarnated into a body for a reason,
Right.
and for sure, it's to grow in consciousness back to source. That's my opinion. And you cannot expect a device just to do the work for you. That's not possible. That being said, um, because we've both witnessed it, um, it's a profound helper. You know, and it's helped a lot of people, um, starting, getting somewhere into that journey back to self. But of course, after that, you still have to do the work, for
Well,
sure.
what the reason I'm excited about it is that I, as you know, own a marketing company, and I've been doing marketing plans for conscious businesses and conscious people for 19 years. And the biggest obstacle they have is the fear of walking into that future self. And that emotional block, this is a tool that can negate and soothe those fears. Now, I don't know how it does it. I don't care, really. I know you could say it's neural pathways. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't know. But I can say that the opportunity to expand the, okay, let's put it this way. I believe that we're so multidimensional, we get glimpses of that. And a lot of times the people that are highly sensitive and highly gifted live in both worlds. And this is a tool that can help you do that more gracefully and bring your gifts more in. It's not the only tool, it's not the only work, but combined with other expansive processes to allow more of your light to come into this container, into this school. I think Earth is a school.
Yeah.
So, and use that frequencies to up level and to help others. That's the game I think we're playing. So, and
Yeah.
I know, Pascal, you do more than just the lights. I know that I've watched you work with people and bring out the best in them. I mean, amazing gifts, amazing,
Thank you.
just beautiful. So when you're traveling, are you meeting people that you also work with, or because you just came back from the West, you didn't get to go
Right.
to Colorado, but
Yes, I missed that,
I
unfortunately.
know
But
I missed you.
I'll come back. I'll come back.
Okay, please.
But
Although your trip was spectacular.
yeah, I've been lucky to spend 3 weeks on the West Coast. I had some people to meet, mostly for work, but obviously in between, I tried to enjoy myself, which I did. That was a one great opportunity to spend some time and visit some of the amazing national parks that you guys have in the U.S. So yeah, I really enjoy myself. But yeah, I did catch up with a friend of mine with whom I work actually in Salt Lake City, because he's he works with alchemy crystal singing bowls,
Oh,
and I'm a fan of those sound tools, as well. So light devices is one way to tackle things and approach things, and I think it's a great tool. But sound is definitely the counterpart that is missing in the equation. And there might be other things, but it's a big one. And so thanks to that friend, I got into work with those amazing magical singing bowls, and alchemy crystal bowls in particular, because it's not just regular Tibetan bowls, which I love too, but Tibetan bowls are usually made of brass, or it's very,
seven medals.
yeah.
One.
And then you've got, that came later on, the regular crystal bowls, made of total crystal, 100% crystal, very beautiful, very etherical, and then after that came the alchemy crystal bowls. And the alchemy crystal bowls are basically, the base is crystal, it's quartz crystal at 89%. And the remaining 11% is usually a mix of different, what we call alchemies, or different elements like precious stones, precious metals, precious elements, even rocks from different places high in energy around the world. And we basically melt them into with the crystal. It's a very long, unique process. It takes at least 3 weeks to make one single ball.
Wow.
And that gives these amazing, very colorful balls with a unique sound. Each ball create not only a tone, obviously based on the composition and the size, but the additional alchemies in the ball will add some complementary capacities that can address specific vibrations to different areas in the body, physically or energetically. So it's interesting because with one ball, you can only, for example, if you have a very big ball, usually it's a low note, and it will help with grounding,
Right.
all the lower chakras. But if that ball is also made of different elements like, I don't know, amethyst or rose quartz or ruby, you can actually also work on the heart chakra or the crown chakra in the same time. So it's very powerful. And so I got to meet that friend in Salt Lake City to actually gather some new balls.
Wow.
And
Well, I saw that you did a video on Facebook with you on a
right.
blanket. Were those all yours, or were you just
Yeah.
testing it? Oh, you're so lucky. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm so blessed.
Light.
I've got 8 balls, and the biggest one is actually in solid gold. And
Oh,
as you know, gold is one of the highest vibration out there. And the sound, not only just the sound, the vibration that it's difficult to perceive or feel through just a video. You got to be there, but it is so piercing. I mean, you feel it in your entire being, and it's amazing. It's an uplifting experience. It's a healing experience also. Sometimes some people can experience literally, erasing of blockages and things like that. It's quite crazy, but yeah. So, and I spent 3 days in Mount Shasta, which I love. I love this place. It's
yeah, that's where I got to meet you.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I brought my ball on the mountain and I played there, and that was a magical moment. And I remember after like 3 minutes, there's this crowd that just starts shouting like crazy in the trees, like, "What's going on here?"
The
But
Telosians.
pardon me.
The Telosians.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. The television lives there on the mountain, so
Yep.
there was some connection work also with this amazing balls. So, but yeah, you can do a lot of things with balls as well. So that's the second type of tool that I use,
Uh-huh.
and the third tool that I use today, because my tools have evolved over the years, but the one that I use now is a technology they use called plasma.
Hmm.
So it's called Therify, and it's quite extraordinary. Basically, the device itself is made of 2 tubes of glass, in which you've got different rare gases, and we basically run very high voltage into those tubes, and it's like 400 or 500,000 volts. It's just massive, and then that gas transform into the next state, which is plasma. So you've got the very nice pinkish, luminescence emanating from those tubes. And when you've got these 2 tubes are actually in a cone shape, like the pineal gland.
Oh.
And when they're facing each other, and you put that at each side of a bed, for example, and obviously you lay down on bed, it creates a field, an electromagnetic field between those 2 tubes that follow a very particular pattern that is it's toroidal, that like the donut.
Toroidal.
Yeah,
Toroidal.
yeah.
A
Uh,
toroidal.
that some guys explain very well, like who's that? Greg Braden or
Yeah.
some other
The
guys. Yeah,
quantum physicists. Here, I'll go
exactly.
get one real quick. I'll get one to explain. Okay,
Sure.
keep going. Sorry.
And to keep explaining this, so basically, when you place any organic or living thing in between that field, it basically reshape and realign everything that is not. Yeah, exactly. So imagine, that that field surrounding your entire body, because you would be laying down in between.
It
All
is
right.
surrounding our entire body, but you're fortifying it, basically.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Is that Heart Math Institute have proved that over since a long time, that the heart is the biggest electromagnetic um, uh, how do you say, powerhouse, kind
Wow.
of, emanating that field all around us.
Yes.
Um, and so when you're sick, or when you heal, or you've got some disease, there's a drop massively in your electric field, and therefore electromagnetically. So when you basically use a device that can boost that field, um, it brings everything back to normal. So I've seen, and I've witnessed also amazing things with like pain management. People, they have whatever issue, back pain, neck pain, lower back pain because of accident, or whatever health issues, feeling much better after one single
Wow.
session.
Wow.
Um, I've seen a man he was in his 70s. He had Alzheimer, and the 36 hours following his sessions, he had a much better cognitive capacity. He could remember more things. And most importantly, when he was waking up in the morning, he didn't have those suicidal thoughts anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And her, his wife was amazed. And we worked for 4 weeks together. And after I was off for a long time on travel, so we didn't have the opportunity to work again, but that was quite amazing, and a couple of other stories like that.
Well, is that Tesla technology? The
It's inspired from him, yeah, from his research, and one of its creator is American. His name is Dan Winter.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
in winter.
yeah, he co-developed that device with a colleague of his who's Canadian. His name is Paul Harris, and it's quite new actually. It's hardly like no more than 4 years old. It's just really new. And there are a few centers in the U.S. where people can experience, that device, the Therify. So it's an interesting.
Verify. Is that French or it sound? It's
No,
French.
it's American. It's American,
Okay.
American Canadian. But if you go on, I think it's Therify.net, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Well, I'll send them to you. Here's your website,
Yeah,
and I'm Zach saying it's an electromagnetic generator. I'm
yeah,
trying to get some other people that I know would love this conversation and could help it further this conversation on. I'm texting them and our group on WhatsApp. Oh well, I don't
sure.
know where they are, but anyway. So I didn't know Kathy was in here. Yes. Okay. Come on over. So okay. So, but how did you? This is what you guys. Pascal is Swiss, but he lives in Nice, France.
Right.
So that's what his beautiful accent is he's got a French accent, but his English is incredibly wonderful. And he's traveled the world in the quest of finding these rare, powerful, simple tools. And there's something simple, even though, someone goes $5,000, that's not simple. It is the simple, it's truth. It's this knowing when you do it that that's what we are, that we are light and sound, we are frequencies, that the body is a self-healing device if it's put in the right environment. And what you've done, Pascal, and it's so much fun to watch you wherever you are. Again, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Pascal? But finding these tools that are it's almost like it's a remembering that we knew about these tools when we were star beings, and now you're bringing them back at the exact right time for people to assist in this consciousness raising, because this is one of the first times humans have ascended in body.
Right.
And the only way that we can hold more light is to do this work to clear the obstacles, which I think in my viewpoint are emotional. Almost all of them, the electric blocks in our field are trapped emotional energy, and that's my feeling. And
Yeah.
these sound and light, it doesn't hurt. You don't have to go into your story. You just clear the electrical charge.
That's correct. To your point, I mean, I actually do. I see emotions and the mind as one same entity. Kind of. So those blockages is also linked to whatever past experiences, but also our very perception of the world and the reality around us. So the big work starts with changing our perception of the world, because the reality around us is actually very illusionary.
It's a hologram.
Totally. It's in another word, I could say that it's a projection of the
Exactly.
mind from an unconscious level that we don't we don't realize, but it's part of a. So we've got those unconscious programs that make us operate, make choices in a particular way, and it starts with just changing our perception, and then reprogramming those programs in a way, right?
Right.
And that lamp, to mention that one, helps often bypassing, those blockages or go beyond. Uh, it isn't. I don't mean that it will necessarily, erase all your blockages, but it will provide a hand to open certain inner doors or windows, um, to see beyond those blockages.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, even if it's only for a day, you can walk in the world with a different perspective.
Oh
And
yeah,
once you do that, then that door is always open. It's not like you do a psychedelic trip and you have to get way out to really shatter your illusion that you're in.
right.
This is baby steps of that. I mean, you can do that if you want, but you don't have to. You can
Mhm.
just start opening the door little by little, and I think that's why the left brain people that are so into binary code, basically, everything's ones or zeros in their
Yeah,
world. When they get a chance to see this, it opens up their whole creativity. It opens up their whole possibility space, and
yeah,
that's where I think that's why people are drawn to it. Is that's what your soul wants. Your soul wants to express itself fully, and the game is for you to come down with all these obstacles and see if you can push through them before you go again.
yeah, totally. And
Right.
actually, also to what you said before, there's an interesting thing that I also keep explaining my clients when they come for a session, is that when we do a light session, it is an invitation to connect to states that go beyond the thoughts, the mind, and the identification to who you think you are on a human level, which is just a label. It's just, again, totally illusionary. This is not the real deal. And so when you get to connect, even for a very short period of time, a couple of times during one light session, at the end of it, you come out of it with that feeling of feeling more centered, more at peace, um, with clearer thoughts or clearer mind, which also is quite useful if you're in a point in your life where you got to take decisions, important decisions for whatever reason, um, or you need inspiration, or you need more creativity in your life. And this is profound because going beyond the mind and the thoughts brings you back to who we are as an essence, not as an individual. And that's the whole idea around it.
Well,
So, yeah.
this is more than meditation. Meditation is a peaceful space where your soul can whisper information to you. This
Right.
is an activity that is a tool to open up the playing field that you're in
Yeah.
and to give
To-
you access to more of who you really are, especially with your guidance, Pascal. I mean, what I've watched you work with people, it was like a miracle what you did. I mean, it's amazing, because you hold that loving resonant space that someone can enter your field of being and remember theirs.
yeah. Um, there is another way to look at it, which is exactly this, what you said, but just phrased differently, is by using that light, you go beyond what you are not. So yes, definitely you get to reconnect to who you really are somehow, but we're so trapped into that human construct and limited consciousness that sometimes it's difficult to go beyond that construct. So by just you know bringing into pieces those perceptions of what you think you are, you know, allows you to go through and to see beyond.
Right.
So even if you can't put clear words because it's beyond the human comprehension. Uh, the universe, life, God is not human, is not emotional. That belongs to our very own dimension, and we humans. So being able to go beyond that is extraordinary, even if it's just touching for a couple of seconds.
Uh, so Elsie wrote, "This is wonderful." She says, "Was thinking about creativity in the possibility space. Thank you." And Elsie wrote, "Love, go beyond what you are not."
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that is really the opportunity when we're talking about conscious choices. These are the conscious choices for us to show up in a very big way to work through the trauma, because everyone has childhood trauma. That's part of the game, really. Everyone has some sort of construct that they can take a hero's path or they can take a victim's path.
Oh, totally.
And
Yeah.
so these are tools that and Pascal would be a tremendous guide for anyone who's ready to go to the next level in their consciousness and to work. You do work remotely, right?
I do for sure. And talking about the lamp, I am also distributing it worldwide, and I've sold a couple of them in the US. And
Yeah.
of course, I'm helping people to learn how to use it, to understand it. And then there's a lot of self-exploration for sure, because everyone's journey is unique, and you got to do the work, even with the lamp, and see and discover for yourself. But I'm always there to guide people the best as I can.
Okay. Okay, so Zach is writing something else too, so we'll have to read that in a little bit. But I think what we're trying to say is that if you don't know about the gift of sound, light, and frequency in your conscious evolutionary journey, then you really want to check out what Pascal's doing and see if this is the path, or if he's the guide that could help you go to the next level. Because I can't recommend him enough. I want everyone to know that these tools are not toys. They're
Yeah.
powerful, mind expanding, liberating devices. And the crystal bowls, I've only heard the recordings. I haven't gotten to hear them in person. I will, I'm sure. But they're sublime. It's sublime what you're doing. And I can only imagine what the other coils, the pineal gland, torus making
Yeah.
devices. But I'm working with people that that this is the new perspective of the access point, and calling in, when in your meditation, calling in the frequencies, expanding, putting more light in this field. This is where, if you just picture my body, I am this. Every one of us is. So the opportunity is to clear this and sing. It's almost like you're a note. You're a note of sound. And what we're trying to do is clear any distortions that are in that note. So anyway, so Pascal, I'm going to put this up. How else can people connect with you? I've got, this is, his website's in French and in English. This is the English
Right.
link, and I will put it in the comments as well so people can connect with you. Can they connect with you here on Facebook, or is there any
Sure.
other way?
Facebook, WhatsApp, via my website, yeah, or Messenger, or even phone. I mean, they can, if they want to talk, or FaceTime. I'm available.
Well, I think that I'm hoping that people will connect with you and get a feeling if you're their guide to this next step, because right now the veils are gone and most people don't know it, and they don't have an operating system of how to operate in this full opportunity to create heaven on earth or hell. And yeah.
And we start, manifesting and projecting our reality in here. So for sure, it's a lot about, again, reprogramming what we have in here that might be hurt or uh, wrongly wired in a way for whatever reason, whether it's coming from our childhood or even beyond, because it would be karmic, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But a change in here, and there's a lot of forgiving actually that needs to take place on that unconscious level of our mind, because this is the part that creates and projects this reality in which we are and in which we identify with. So it all starts in our perception, and yeah, there's different ways and different. I'm thinking also about some amazing books, authors that are worth checking out, like probably some of them you're aware of or are familiar, like Michael Singer,
Yeah.
like Gary Renard, like what else?
Joe Dispenza.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Who made a great video about the pineal gland very recently. Uh, yeah, these are some of the people that are worth checking out and read. It's really helping with facing, some challenges that we may have and we are stuck in because of whatever past, suffering. So
Right. And I'm certainly not making small about any of that, but I do believe that that's we're healing one soul at a time. We're healing ourselves one day at a time. And
right.
every single thing in your field is an opportunity for you to be triggered or to use. That this whole environment is working for us, not against us. We're not victims in any way. We're co-creating with it. And this allows you to co-create at a whole different level. And with Pascal's support, learn how to use it correctly so that you and your family, I mean, this is usually people share it with a lot of people. It's not
Right.
your own personal tool. You usually, once you get it, you want everybody to have the experience. And we've done events where we were lying on the ground and there were 4 or 5 of us with our heads all together and the lights in the middle. We've done events with several of the lights doing that. And it is the connections that you get and the opportunity to expand is remarkable. It's life-changing, really. So Pascal, thank you so much for everything you do. I love you so much, and I hope everyone on this call and on the replay will connect with you and benefit from your incredible wisdom and the gifts that you share. I just am so lucky that I know you. I just can't say enough. So,
Thanks from the bottom of my heart.
oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
oh yeah. And so everyone here's Pascal's contact information, and I'll also put it up in the comments. And then, of course, this video will be up on YouTube afterwards as a replay. So please make it a point to check out what Pascal's doing, and just watch him because he's just getting better and better. I mean, by 2 years from now, he'll have something that's take you all the way to another level. I'm very convinced.
I have also a pro page on Facebook. Just mentioning it. I gotta check the name because it's in English and I'm not so used to it. It's called Crystal Sounds Consciousness.
I saw one in French and it was like, I can't use that.
No, I know. I always post like things in both French and English on that page. So it's, but it's if people type in Facebook light crystal sounds consciousness, they'll end up on my page.
Okay. Well, why don't you and I in the comments after we're
Sure.
done put it in there, and Elsie says thank you both, and she says clearing so that we can resonate. So and that's what we're on notes. We're on.
Yes.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much, and I hope to
Thanks
see
for
you
having
in
me.
person
Thank
soon.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.